So I was just struck by what you said at the beginning of the meditation about this common trait that that we experience, whether we're thinking about our breakfast or whether we're thinking about our childhood or whether we're thinking about, the room.
Hmm.
And it struck me that you called that beingness,
Hmm.
but it could just as easily be me, be
Hmm.
I-ness,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And I think that there is a kind of important distinction there in a sense, because I guess in the way that I kind of I mean, when I think of beingness, I
Hmm.
think of something that is kind of like bigger than me and outlives me.
Mm.
Whereas I think of I-ness and I think it will just go when I go.
Hmm.
So what's the difference?
This is such a great question, Henry. Um, we can say beingness, we can say I-ness, or even to say I-ness may be make it might make things sound unnecessarily kind of abstract or philosophical. How about just I?
Me.
Right? We say
Yeah.
I all the time. I all
Yeah.
the time. I think, I feel, who is all this experience? Who or what does it pertain to? I. Simplest thing in the world. And we can also say awareness. Awareness. Where are all these experiences taking place? They're all taking place within awareness. What are they all being experienced by? They're being experienced by awareness. And these are just words in English. Then we can use words in other languages. We can use words in, there are specialized words in some of the ancient languages. We can say Atman, or we can say Brahman, we can say Shunyata, we can say, use a lot of these. Each of these words, in a way, they're all right and also they're all wrong. And in a way, they all pertain to the same thing, which is not a thing. And so they're all the same, but also they're all different. They all sort of bring out different angles, different approaches to this same, I don't want to say same thing, the same central reality of our life. And they all have potential flaws. They all have ways they can mislead us, which is why I like to use different ones, to keep a couple of balls in the air to kind of have their vulnerabilities, their back doors for misunderstanding, have them hopefully kind of cancel each other out. So when you say being or beingness, sounds like it's something bigger than you. It can't be bigger than I. It's the same thing as I, and that it will outlast you. It can't outlast the I. It's the same as I. However, it is bigger than Henry, and it will outlast Henry. See, and this points us to the potential problems with the word I, which is that we tend to misunderstand the word I for its conventional use, which is referring to a person, a separate being, a chunk of, we can identify it as a chunk of matter, an individual mind, a bunch of personal history that has a bunch of traits and a personality, all of these things. A bunch of, it's a bundle of phenomena. And like all phenomena, it's complex, it's composite, It's composite. Therefore, it's limited. It has boundaries, right? If you have these traits, you don't have these traits. All right? If you have this kind of personality, you don't have that kind of personality. Both of those are finite. They're non-infinite. They're non-boundless. Being composite, everything that's composite, put together out of parts, is eventually doomed to fall apart, as the Buddha said just before his death. All composite things come up. All composites come apart. Right. So that's the misunderstanding of I, or the conventional understanding of I, and the conventional understanding of I is good enough to function from day to day. And in fact, it's necessary to function from day to day, but it's not good enough for what we're doing here, which is seeking the boundlessness of life. Right. So if we if we notice that, well, the body keeps changing. The body that I witness is not the same body I had when I was 10 years old. The personality also changes, perhaps more slowly. The thoughts, the opinions change. The view of the personal history, the view of the future, all of that changes. And yet there is this sense, which we all have, of something unchanging to which all that changing stuff pertains. The I, which is not a body, not a mind, not feelings, not history, not anything that has traits. When we try to talk about it, it seems very kind of evasive, and yet we all have this sense of I. So yeah, I is a good word. It's good old fashioned, everyday, non-philosophical word for I. But because we can tend to mix up the boundless I, the true I, with the small, personal, conventional I, we also will use words like beingness. You know, if I is not a body, if it's not thoughts, if it's not, what's left? Well, okay, there's out here. There's there's all the perceiving, of the objects of the senses, right? That's, in a way, we could say the most gross level of our existence. It's visible, and it's shared more or less with others, and so forth. But then if we go a little deeper, a little more internal, so to speak, we come to our thoughts, right? Other people don't see our thoughts. They may see some, outward reflections of the thoughts in our changing facial expressions and so forth. And actually, if you've been married for a long time, you start to, it's a tendency to start to know each other's thoughts. But thought is on a more invisible level. It's on a quieter, more intimate level. It feels closer to I than all this external sense perception does. Right? But then deeper than thought is feeling. Right? That's even more intimate. Feels closer to who we truly are. I can have one thought about this thing. This movie I think is going to be really good. Then I go to see it. It's not that great, so that thought has changed. Big deal. But feelings feel much more like me. They're much more vulnerable, tender, much closer to home. And then there's some very deep feelings that are so subtle we don't even have words for them. And yet we experience them. So we have perceiving, then deeper than that thinking, then deeper than that feeling, and then even deeper than that, more intimate, we could say being being, which is completely invisible to others, completely even invisible to ourselves. More intimate, more I than my deepest feelings. And yet, here it is. It's the one constant. So we can say being, right? Sensing, thinking, feeling, being.
But it's a matter of faith, then, essentially. It's like not something that you can perceive. This boundless I is not something that you can perceive. It's only something that you can believe is boundless.
No, no. The news is much better than that. Uh, much better than that. Um, okay, right now, do you sense your own existence?
Yeah.
Okay, what color is it? Right, no color.
Mm.
What size is it? What nationality is it? Right, it has no traits, and yet you sense it right now. You sense the sense of I-ness is unmistakable. It's
Yeah,
unmistakable.
I mean, that's true, but I guess I feel like it won't be here when I'm dead.
Okay, let's get to that in a minute.
Right.
Because we're trying to extrapolate some experience in the future when we haven't clearly pinned down our experience right now, which is
Okay.
the only time we can have experience. All experience is only in the present. Okay. Um, so here's the here's the sense of I. And as always, by the way, I'm it's like I'm having dialogue with Henry, but I'm talking to everyone. I hope everyone is following along, asking themselves these questions and using these questions not as prompts to think, but as prompts to examine your experience right now. Do I have a sense of I, sense of the whatever it is that's experiencing all these experiences? Yes. Can I see it the way I see the wall or see the microphone or something? No. I can't see it. I can't taste it. I can see, but it's where I'm seeing from. I can't hear it, but it's where all my life I've been hearing from. I can't wrap my thoughts around it, but it's where for all my life I've been thinking from. Okay, you can taste, so to speak. I can't taste it, right? But it's where I've been tasting from. You can, right? We can all get this sense. This is, and it's the unchanging element, and it's the central element. It's like the linchpin around which all the experience revolves. We can't experience it the way we experience other things for that reason. Just as a scale can weigh all kinds of objects, but the scale can't weigh itself. Right? The ruler can measure all the objects, it can't measure itself. The knife can cut all these objects, it can't cut itself. So the I cannot experience itself the way it experiences other things, but it experiences itself by being itself. It's like the sun shines on all the planets. The sun can't shine on itself, but the sun radiates within itself. The sun just is that light, is that warmth. So that's what we're doing in meditation. We, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, where it's like in meditation, we're like a turtle withdrawing its limbs within its shell. Right? So all this sensing, thinking, feeling that's been directed outward now just comes to rest withinward. The I, the experiencer, just rests in self-experience. And other stuff's going on. Thoughts are going on in the background. Noise is going on in the background. We all know by now, yeah, that's fine. It's fine for that to be in the background. But what's come more and more into the foreground is this I, is this beingness resting in itself. And then that experience becomes more clear as we come out. Jennifer, I'm going to get to you in a minute here. So our whole, I don't want to say task because I'm so allergic to work, to making any of this work, but our program here, our whole program is becoming more familiar with this I, this beingness, this isness, this awareness, resting in it in so-called meditation by just being with what is, and then coming out and having gotten the taste, like the little sample spoon of ice cream. Now we can more and more come to recognize, oh, that same I is there through all this with my eyes open. So sitting down and closing our eyes and giving this the name meditation doesn't magically create the I. It's just an opportunity to notice it with a little more clarity, which then more and more carries over into our activity. It's less and less overshadowed by all the phenomena. Now, the boundlessness of it is simply the fact that since it has no size, it has no shape, it has no color, those are all boundaries, right? Something that's purple is not yellow, not green. It's a limitation, right? So boundlessness has none of those limitations. The problem, as I said, there's problems with all the words we use. The problem with the word boundlessness is people hear it and they think, oh, something great, big, 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 big. So we're looking subtly expecting some feeling of like the balloon of our perception just gets pumped up with more air or something like that, or like galaxies, right? Millions and millions of miles, but millions and millions and millions of miles, millions of light years. That's still finite. That's still space. Infinite, boundless means having nothing to do with space. And eternal means having nothing to do with time. It doesn't mean millions and millions of years and then a little bit more to just break our brain. So this is eternity right now. This is the boundlessness right here. Does the I, to get to the other part of your question, does the I persist in time after the death of the physical body? No, because it doesn't exist at all in time. It doesn't exist in time right now. It's outside of time. We've got the picture inside out. The I, which is, so to speak, the space, the medium, which is beyond space, beyond time. Beyond is not good, because again, beyond sounds like big, big, and then bigger than big. Prior to, right? Prior to space, without space, without time. Free, I like the word free of space, free of time. And then the whole drama of time and space and bodies and peoples unspools within that. And then when physical death takes place, that's an event in time and space. It has no effect on the medium within which all the drama happens. And what hopefully happens before the time of death is that we have stopped falsely identifying with this character, and we've found our true identity, which is the medium prior to time and space. Right? So it's like when a character in the movie dies, the screen doesn't die. So as long as we're identified with a character in the movie, then we have to experience what we think is death. Actually, if we haven't gotten clear before the time of death, before our character gets written out of the script, if we haven't yet gotten it clear that we're the screen and not the character, the time of death is a big opportunity. Is a big opportunity because that's when the body's dissolving. As long as we can stay calm, right? If we and the best way to do that is that we practice every time we meditate. In a sense, we're practicing dying. What happens is the identity with the body falls away. We stop thinking about the body. We stop, when we open our eyes at the end of meditation, sometimes it's kind of a surprise. Oh yeah, right, the body's here. Oh yeah, I'm in this room. Right? All that stuff falls away. Or gets softer, gets softened. Maybe thoughts are still there, but they get softened. All this stuff gets softened, maybe falls away. And yet there's one thing that's left that remains, which is the being, the I. Not dependent on any of that stuff. So we don't have to wait for the time of death to experience the existence, the primacy, the reality of the I without any of this other stuff. When the other stuff falls away, it falls away every time we meditate. And increasingly, in this way that sounds paradoxical when we talk about it, increasingly, even when we're out here in activity, using the body, functioning through the personality, more and more, it's all kind of fallen away. So in India, they refer to the some of these monks who are supposedly, hopefully enlightened monks that don't have any career or family or all that. They just wander around, being, and they call them the walking dead. And that's a good thing. It's not a zombie thing. It's what great fortune. They're the walking dead. They've already experienced the falling. They've let everything fall away, and now they're just being, just boundless. So faith does not enter into it.